What is Mazal? Luck, that's what we normally suggest. And for most people, luck is something over which we have absolutely no control. There are certain things in this life that we don't have control over. We are born either with good brains or bad brains, with strong bodies, weak bodies, into rich families, poor families. Some of us are more attractive physically than others. But that doesn't determine how we're going to live our lives. Plenty of people born rich become poor. Plenty of people born poor become rich. Plenty of people who are born Jewish become Talmidei Chachamim and study, and plenty abandon the faith. So we are given gifts at birth, but it's up to us to act, to decide how we deal with them. At the same time, there are forces beyond our control. If we were born in Poland at the time of the Nazi invasion, that was going to affect us. If we worked in the Twin Towers, that would affect us. A drunk driver coming in the other direction would affect us. Is there any way that we can guarantee anything? No. We all have to die. God runs the world according to God's standards, criteria, and he doesn't always tell us how he decides. And therefore, we can only do our best. But the question is, does Mazal, luck, play any part in doing our best? According to Bilam, the famous sorcerer, who was asked by Balak to curse the Jewish people, he said, Lo nachash b'Yakov, v'lo kesem b'Yisrael. There's no magic. Magic has no effect on the Jewish people whatsoever. And no trickery, no divination. It has no place in our tradition. If we want to understand something, we have to develop a close relationship with God. And the way we do that is by behaving in the way that God wants us to behave. The term Mazal is not used in the Bible at all. It's only much later, when Jews moved into Babylon and mixed in other societies. All societies, until relatively recently, ran according to astrological criteria. That's how they believed they could understand how things worked, according to the stars. This is debated in the Gemara, in Shabbat, in Kuf Nun Vav Amud Aleph, in which, first of all, you have the opinion of Rabbi Chanina. And Rabbi Chanina says that Mazal Machkim, it's a matter of Mazal if you are clever, Mazal Mashir, a matter of Mazal if you are rich, the Yesh Mazal Yisrael, and Mazal does affect Israel. Now what did he mean? Did he mean you only become rich if you have Mazal? Or does it mean that you become rich because you create your Mazal? That you can create your own luck. Many people, including Oscar Wilde, said that the harder I work, the greater the amount of luck I have. So that's the opinion of Rabbi Chanina. On the other hand, Rabbi Yochanan said, Minayin she'ein mazal Yisrael. How do I know there is no such thing as luck affecting Israel? Shneimar. He says, it's written, of course, in the Torah, in Yirmiyahu, in Jeremiah, that Ko Amar Hashem, this is what God says, El derech hagoyim al tilmadu. Don't follow the ways of looking at this world the way the nations around you do. Umeotot hashamayim al techatu, and don't be frightened of the signs in the heavens, of astrology. Don't worry, it has no impact on you. Ki yechatu hagoyim, it may be the non-Jews are worried from all these things, but Israel ought not to be worried about these things at all, because it doesn't apply. Ein mazal Yisrael. And Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Rav, Rabbi Yehuda in the name of Rav, says the same sort of thing, but uses another example. He says, Minayin she'ein mazal Yisrael. How do we know that mazal doesn't have a bearing on Israel? Because it says that God takes Avraham outside and he shows him the stars of the heavens. And Avram says to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ribono Shel Olam, Master of the universe, Ben Beiti Yoreshoti, I'm going to be inherited by Eliezer, who runs my household, because I don't have a son. And Amalo Lav, and God said to him, no, that's not true. Ki im asher yetzi mimeyaich, you're going to have a son who's going to come from your body. Ama Avraham, Lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Avram said to the holy man, to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ribono Shel Olam, to Master of the universe, Nistakalti b'tztagninut sheli, I looked in my astrological charts, ve'eini ra'oi lo lidben, and they tell me that I'm not going to have a son. Amalei, God said to him, Tzei me'tztagninut shelcha, don't pay any attention to your charts, to your astrology. It's a load of nonsense. Ein Mazal Yisrael, there's no Mazal for Israel, and you're going to have a son. So whatever people may predict in the charts, it doesn't have to be that way, and you don't have to take it seriously. There's another Gemara over the page of Rabbi Akiva, and the Gemara goes like this. Rabbi Akiva said, Ein Mazal Yisrael, there's no Mazal to Yisrael, and he tells a story that actually happened to him. That Havile Barta, he had a daughter, and for some reason, the Chaldeans, the astrologers, volunteered to him that on the day that she was going to get married, she would be bitten by a snake and die. Looks a bit like Sleeping Beauty. Anyway, the Gemara goes like this. Amrele Chaldai, the Chaldees, the astrologers said, how Yomad Aila Lebegana, the day she goes to the chuppah or gets married, Trekle Chivya Omete, a snake's going to bite her and die. Rabbi Akiva was worried about this. How Yoma, but it seems he didn't say anything to anybody. How Yoma Shakalta Lemich Banta Dista Baguda. On the day of her wedding, the night before her wedding, she took out her hairpin, long hairpin, and stuck it in the wall. It was common in those days. They didn't have marble walls. Very often modest people had mud walls or wooden walls, and they used to keep their jewelry by just sticking it in and then pulling it out when they needed it. But it so happened when she stuck her pin into the wall, it so happened that she stuck it right into the eye of a snake that was in the wall, and the snake was just waiting to come out and bite her. Letzafra, in the morning, when she took this pin out of the wall, she pulled it out, and the dead snake came trailing out behind it. So Rabbi Akiva said, what did you do? You've obviously done some good deed that, as a result of which, God has protected you, and that's why the snake died. Amalei, she said, Befani Ata Anya, in the morning, the earlier day, there was a poor man. He came, Karabava, called outside the door, asked for food. Everybody was busy making my wedding meal, and nobody heard. So Ke'imna, I got up personally, and Shakalti Ladistane or Laristane, I took part of the special food that was prepared for a bride. V'yavitle, I gave it to him. V'yahivnele, he took it from me. And Amalei, so Rabbi Akiva said, Mitzvah avadat, you've done a good deed. And therefore, Nafik Rabbi Akiva, the Darash Rabbi Akiva, gave a drasha in which he said, Staka tatzil mimavet, it is good deeds that helps protect you, or protect you from death, except of course he didn't mean literally from death, because we all die, but however good we are. But what he meant and what he was saying essentially was that if anything is going to change our relationship with God and change our relationship with the world around us, it's not the stars, it's not mazal meaning luck, it is our actions. And therefore the idea of pure luck, mazal, has no place according to the vast majority of great rabbis. It has no place. What we might mean by mazal is the set of circumstances, that we hope the set of circumstances that you have to face will be in your favor. But they may not be. Imagine two very religious men, both of them praying to God that their competing businesses should succeed, and that one should overcome the other. You can't both win. And yet, both of them are good men, and sometimes it's God who makes the decision, and we don't know how God makes that decision, but we do know that if we want any favor to come our way, it depends on two things. It depends on our relationship with God, and it depends on how we behave. Those are the only two tools you need to cope with life. You do not need luck.